Mm. Good morning. Double the amount of silent space this morning. 40 minutes. Why? What would you tell others? Helping them find their silent space.
I really enjoyed that because for some reason or other, there seems to be more distractions this week.
Thank you, Craig. And what do you mean by distractions? Not specifically, but what do this distractions do, cause, produce?
Well, just things that pop up that interrupt the silence.
Mm.
So it's a realization that I can just observe them
Mm. Yes.
instead of reacting to them.
Mhm. Reacting and attaching to them.
Thank you, JC. So for me, the silence is like being held by consciousness. So it gives opportunity, as Craig says, without distractions, to immerse into that, what I experience as, into the sound and the pulse of the electromagnetic field that we live in, that embraces us, that holds us without constricting. And the more I get opportunity to practice this in an awake state, the more I can carry it with me in my interactions and with other people, with tasks that I have. And it provides an anchor for a longing that I had for a long time in my life, which was compassion and love. Which brings understanding. And allows for many different perspectives. Thank you.
What I recap, replay back is Craig, thank you for a way of being rather than reactive and responding. We are practicing other perspectives because when our emotions rise, flush through quickly, it's just old patterns that are coming out that we're responding with. And when we can pause them, hear the situation, hear what's causing it, we can move through with more compassion. We can move forward with more compassion, more ease. And to Allison, it's like we practice living a good life, living a life we love because it's our choices that choose it, that be it, rather than it coming from out there, from outside of us. How many of us have said, oh, when they show me compassion, I'll show them compassion. Or whatever emotion you want to use, replace it with anything. When I have blank, then I'll feel blank. They're your unique words.
When you use those words that way, though, you're displaying a lack.
Mhm. Thanks, Mona. Good. Yes. And we do. We lack things from out there, from the world out there. That's how I was raised, viewed. And the more that I got from out there, it wasn't the happier I was in here. It didn't go that way as much as I thought it would.
In the silence, I get to create new spaces for the new sounds to take place in.
Yeah, signs that's similar to my answer from this morning was the most important thing will arise in my silence. My thoughts will just go there. And rather than just letting them run uncontrolled, I practice structuring them between where am I and what do I want. Because out of everything, that situation came up in the silence this morning. And oh, am I afraid to face it? Yes, because that has been my pattern, has been to avoid it. But I also see I must step through it, facing the truth of the moment, so that I can truly move forward, move through it. So that I can create new practices, new openings, new spaces. So that I can share that with others rather than hiding it. The old patterns just reinforce the hiding. It was just easier.
What came to me with what you were saying, Jesse, was that oh, I can't, okay, so I'm speaking to what I'm hearing. What I hear with that is somebody who is really going into the abundant space and, as Lynn would always say, boundless love that life has to provide. And when we do that, by doing that ourselves, we awaken, we give the opportunity for it to be awakened in others. Because that vibration is so palpable and people feel it. And they get curious about it. And that's why the yogis say your only true job in life is to become life itself. Because when you become it, which is compassion, you allow and make space and make room for others. And in that you lead. And I don't think that message is too dissimilar from Christ's teachings.
Syncs up pretty nicely for me.
As I see it, compassion requires authenticity, and that requires vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. And the vulnerability of the ego, right?
And the heart. We think so. We think it's protecting the heart, but it's just the ego.
Yeah.
The ego that is attached to one view.
Mostly, yes.
In each individual situation. It is attached to its view of the ego, from the structure, from its beliefs. Because there's no doubt in transparency, sharing the transparency, that another person, can be very disappointed.
Mm.
Doesn't change that at all.
No.
doesn't mean they'll respond with compassion.
Absolutely not, yeah. The whole point of compassion is that we experience it.
Yes.
We can't, you know, we can't expect. And also, if you're really in compassion, when it's not matched, there's not things. Yeah, when you're really in compassion, you don't expect and you don't need it to be matched and expanded. But it takes a while to get there. It took me a long time to get there. And not for 1 minute do I think that I have gotten to that point of being able to live compassion with every breath. But I'm very grateful for the anchor that it gives me to return to. Really grateful for that. And when I think about it, I think what happened for me was that I didn't have to rely so much on the ego anymore. Because previously my ego, I felt and I thought it provided safety, which is what its big task is. And then when I experienced compassion in the presence of another person, to the extent that every single cell in my body was vibrating, I knew that I could trust something different.
Did you say, Allison, that you knew that you could trust something different?
I did, yeah. And I'll just add, it took me decades still to let go of my ego after that. but it was a start. Talking about letting go of the ego, there was something earlier, or maybe it was from yesterday, I can't remember now, but it just came to me again, the usefulness for me of remembering that we live from moment to moment, and every moment is a new moment and a new opportunity. And even as Hans talks about the ego as being so tricky, even when it does come up, the capacity to observe it as we practice here with observing our automatics is invaluable. Can't put a number to that. We ultimately have the power to contain or expand the ego.
Bye, Mona.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
I will. Bye.
Big love, Mona.
Thank you. You guys have been terrific.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, hun. Bye, Allison. Bye, Jesse. Bye, Craig.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, Mona.
Bye, Heinz. Bye, Chi.
Have a great day, Mona.
I plan on it. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, Mona.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
I'm going out to dinner with my dad. That's my
Mm,
birthday present from him.
yes.
Love
Have a
you,
great
Mona.
day.
What a great present.
Thank you. You guys have a great day too.
Thanks for stopping by and giving us your presents.
Yes. Yes.
I was just thinking that in our relationship, whether to ourselves or to others, our heart needs to be nurtured in order to we can grow in a meaningful way. But I just have one big question: how do we close the gap between hearts?
I certainly don't think I've got the answer to this, Chi.
When
But my
you tried
experience
it,
of it,
when you tried everything,
When two hearts are involved, it takes two people.
Mhm.
yes. And two willingnesses.
So without willingness,
In my experience, it doesn't go well.
mhm. Yeah, I really hit rock bottom. I really.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I try to see in new perspective,
Yeah.
to change.
Well, Chi, it's me too.
I'm sorry to hear. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And my heart hurts for you as well.
But where do we go from here? Oh man.
I'll
I
say
don't
this. Sorry, Jess, go.
I don't think we've tried everything.
There's always a new perspective.
Go ahead, Allison.
What I was going to say is that when two people reach a stalemate like that, in my experience, being with a third person that is qualified and that can facilitate understanding and empathy in both people, that makes a massive big difference to how things become resolved. And there's no guarantee that, for instance, in a marriage, that the marriage will last. But that's not the most important thing. It's important, of course, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that a level of compassion can be facilitated for each person, for the other. Because a family can still be a family in heart, even if the marriage dissolves. And then there's always a chance that something new comes to light, which brings the bond between those two people to another level, and you create a different kind of a marriage. You create a new marriage if you're staying in it, and if you're having to separate, it might not be a marriage anymore, but there's still respect and love. I think relationships are our biggest learning curve. It's the most difficult thing that we I'd say have to do, but it's the most difficult task that we have.
Could I add something to that, Allison?
Of course.
Yeah, and another thing that's been really important for me the past months here is to redirect some of that compassion toward myself.
Any one of you seen what Ebony has shared on Facebook about self-love?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep. Really good. Morning, Pascal.
Good
Morning,
morning.
Pascal.
Morning, Pascal.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Pascal.
Morning, guys. How are you guys doing? Talking about marriage and union.
Yeah.
And how they know how
So,
to push her buttons.
oh yeah.
Mm, patterns, right? Patterns, grooves, ruts that we get into.
I'll just add this. It's not of huge importance, but it can be helpful. So when you talk about compassion, it's all encompassing. It's for yourself as well as for the other. That's compassion. It can't be divided.
That doesn't mean we don't think that it needs to be.
I know,
That,
Jesse. Yeah,
that
I know.
doesn't mean that we don't believe that as long as we give it to them, we'll get it back.
Yes, I know. I know.
It doesn't mean that we yearn and want and desire it that way, because that is how we've created it from our structure. We didn't see it any other way.
Correct.
The old saying, set it free, and if it comes back, it's meant to be.
Yep. Yep. It's a good saying, that.
The importance of letting go. That takes all different. What we need to do is look at what are my automatics when I say let it go. Because it can be all sorts of things. And that's where the magic, that's where the canvas, that's where the blank creation opportunities show up, is in that it. Let it go. What is the it to let go of?
Your whole personhood.
Might be. It might be a piece of it. It might be a piece of theirs. It might be all of it. It might be the whole family. It might be the whole marriage. It may, like, here's the point, is let all of it, like, there, and then pick up and bring back in what you want, and letting go all that you don't. And when two people can do that, oh, values show up, right? The alignment shows up rather than all the differences. It's like we live our marriages managing our differences, ignoring the similarities.
All the differences are attached to the ego,
Mm-hmm.
and the similarity is the heart,
That's right.
the true
Once,
heart, put it that way.
And as we spoke yesterday, alignment.
Mm.
Common ground. The more common ground we can find, let go of the uncommon ground. And I can choose her up until the point she doesn't choose me. And then that's a whole new situation. So, Heinz, we really look at what are we avoiding most? What are we fighting for most? What are we hiding from? What do we need?
Well, when we give love, we need to get love back.
Mhm. And in the relationship, then it's understanding what they want, need, aren't getting.
But sometimes when you don't get an answer, it's hard to figure out what they really want.
There's a willingness, yes. There's a don't know and a willingness. Like they can be, they can go together.
Mm.
But arrogance does not. Ignorance, not ignorant, but arrogant or defiant is different. And
Yeah.
in that, then there's some avoidance to what it really is. And all we can be is like comfortable with all outcomes.
Or just to have the willingness to accept it. You might not be able to be comfortable with it just
Yeah, good way to put the words.
initially, right?
That's right. Otherwise, we're not going right at it.
Yeah.
And we call that, I mean, in all reality, that is faith, you know, faith of the unknown.
Yeah.
And my mind
Which is
works.
trust.
That's right. Trust. My mind works as long as if I can deal with the worst and deal with the best, I know everything's going to fall in between that. And then I can say, all right, well, which one do I want? It gives my clarity. It gives the clarity for what I'm going for. It gives
Yeah.
that foothold, that strength to say, and I don't know what to do next, but this is the direction I'm going for as long as I can, as long as I want to, as long as I see that as my best moves, I'm going to go for that. But only when we let it all go, let both the good and the bad go, that we can pick up the pieces that we want to put back together. It's easy to say this, easy to think about it. Very difficult in the moment.
For sure.
But if it's already the worst that it can be, what do we have to lose? Usually, it might be just pride. It might be some ego. It might be what people might say about us. Who knows?
in reality, love and truth is so simple.
Hmm.
Even a baby know how to, you know, it all started with self-love, and baby loves everything about itself. Yeah.
Yep. What does that say, Ochi? What does that say? What does that mean? If you were a baby once, what must that mean?
We all got it in us.
Thank you. Yes. And it's the very first patterns, it's the very first behaviors we knew. So to get back to them, it's the deepest, right? It's the deepest, the lowest. Like they're like the everything we built around them, they're in there. They're just way deep. And the longer we've been on this earth, the more blocks, the bigger the wall, the defenses we've put up around that baby.
Hmm.
No, guys, my parents are going to be heading out. I hear them moving around. Would you like me to keep it going?
To you
Or are we
guys.
complete with our space?
I'm complete.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a blessed
Chi.
day, all of you. Love and hugs.
You all.
Love
Thank you.
and hugs.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody.
Big love,
Yeah, love and
everyone.
hugs, everybody.
Goodbye.
Happy